My name is Laura Ferri, and welcome to the My Inner Struggle podcast, where I'm talking everything personal growth, lifestyle, and business. I have Kate Assaraf with me today, who owns Dip. And Kate, do you want to give me your one-liner on Dip?
Sure. Dip is serious hair care for not so serious people.
Love it.
It's plastic free, but so many people have been disappointed by plastic free options before, and Dip is usually the last resort someone will try before they really believe in the sustainability movement.
Okay, cool. Do you want to start by sharing some of your story about how this came about?
Sure. So Dip kind of came about out of necessity. For myself, I've been trying to reduce my plastic since 2014. So it's now been a full decade of trying to reduce my plastic. And I could do it I could reduce plastic in every department of my life, right? Like in the kitchen, like easy, right? Like I was on beeswax wraps and, there's no saran wrap and there's no paper towels. It's like all reusable stuff. But when it came to hair care, I was left pretty disappointed by the options that were out there. And I felt like they were all made for the type of woman that I'm not, which is like what you think the avatar of like a crunchy granola woman is.
Okay.
And so what it's my some women love like bags and shoes and like they indulge in those places. I always indulge in expensive hair care. That was my thing.
Love it.
So trying to find a plastic free substitute for the kind of hair care that I was used to using, it just wasn't happening. And so I would have these bars from brands in my shower, but I would secretly be sneaking in Oribe or Pureology or Kerastase.
Okay.
So in the privacy of outward facing, I was reducing my plastic, but in the privacy of my own shower, I was like indulging in these beautiful.
That's some good stuff, though.
Yeah. So I've been in beauty for about 20 years, and I was like, I know I can make a better bar than what's out there, and I know that there's a lot of people like me that are left like underserved by what the sustainable options that are out there. So I basically decided I was going to make the best bar hair care that I could, regardless of price, or just make the best thing that I could and see how it turned out. And then I wanted it also to like solve problems. Like, so for the shampoo, I run every day in the woods, and I wanted to make sure that I could use it every day without it stripping all the oil out of my hair.
That was going to be one of my questions. So you wash your hair every day with it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Especially when I'm training for something like because otherwise conventional shampoos, right? You have to choose between your run and a good hair day, because you have to like, okay, I'm not going to shower today, so I have to put it in my hair in a bun or ponytail or a hat.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of like this unspoken math we have to do in our head if you can't shower. And then for the conditioner, because I'm in and out of the lake, and my husband and I, we're not good surfers, but we love to surf. We wanted to make sure that the conditioner bar was able to detangle your hair after surfing. I want it to be so good that it could take out saltwater tangles, which are like notoriously dry and terrible.
Horrible. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And
cool.
So not only does it perform like luxury stuff, but it also solves those problems for us personally that I know are problems for everyone out there. Like I always see surfers trying to figure out like, okay, am I putting just coconut oil in my hair? Do I wet my hair before I go in the ocean to stop it getting more dry? And so it solves that problem for them, and it does it plastic free.
Awesome. Yeah. So you have the shampoo bar, obviously you said, and the conditioner. Do you have any other products that go complement those?
I do. We have an enzyme spray, which is actually in dead stock packaging. So another brand went out of business. I just happened to be I happened to hear a conversation about how this brand went out of business. These bottles had been sitting in a warehouse for like a decade, and they were going to go to a landfill. So the enzyme spray is a plastic bottle that we've kind of repurposed.
Resource.
Yeah. And so what that is it's a shower in a bottle. So if you're camping at a festival, or, you have a broken leg and you can't shower, or you're going through periods of grief and you just don't feel like showering, or if you've just had a baby and showering is like impossible, the enzyme spray, basically you just spray it in your hair, and it cleans dirt and oil, like organic dirt and oil, but it's not a dry shampoo. So it won't make your hair wet, and your hair will be wet, but it will dry clean.
Interesting.
Still have to
Okay.
style it. It's like I haven't seen anyone else with something like this, but
Yeah, I've
it's
never heard of anything like that.
yeah, it's kind of, I call it the secret sauce, and I don't really talk about it very often, but when people find it, like they send messages, they're like, holy moly. Like,
That's okay.
like,
We're pretty raw here, so if you need to use your full emotions, I'm cool with
like,
it.
okay, so I'll start it again. So they're like, holy shit, like this stuff actually works. And yeah, it was inspired by, this is like not a nice story, it's more sad, but my mom was in the hospital for 6 months before she died, and she taught me everything about hair, and she loved her hair. And when she was in the hospital, she was so self-conscious about people coming to see her and like visiting her and kissing her on her forehead, and her hair was never like clean to the standards that she wanted.
Right.
And you know, beyond the fact that it's like cool and can be used at festivals, but if you have, you know, a loved one in a nursing home or in the hospital, it will clean their hair, and it's not like full of chemicals and stuff, so it can be used for
That's like the perfect source for it, because I'm trying to, you know, like we have babies, we're in the hospispital, and it's like you never feel
oh my
good.
gosh.
Yeah, it's gross. You just feel gross.
They send the photographer in, and you're like, no,
Go
go away.
Yeah. So you are a mom, obviously. And I don't know why I said obviously, because I know that. So you are a mom, you're an entrepreneur. How do you balance it all?
Yeah, I don't. So I don't balance anything. I'm actually okay letting like the business stuff. The beauty of having a small company is you can let your business kind of take second place to your family, and that's intentional. Like I have no intention of growing this company into being like a mega global brand. It's just a really beautiful business that I keep small on purpose to like.
Mhm.
Because it supports me, it supports my family, and it supports the people that work for me. And because I don't work alone anymore, the company's almost 3 years old, and I've hired people to help me with things. Like I'm never stuck doing anything alone anymore. So
That's good. That's like one of those, you know, one of those things as a business owner, you have to let people take the spots that they're good at so that you can do less, right? Because that's the whole point. You didn't create a full-time job for yourself. You want to own a business and have the time with your family. So what was like one of the first roles that you filled to help you out to alleviate some of that bullshit?
Well, it was out of necessity. Actually, my manufacturer went bankrupt, and so I had to scramble. Either I'd have no company with no one producing the stuff. So
Right.
I decided to rent my own commercial space and start producing dip ourselves. And so
Okay.
I hired a team. I hired a team that's really wonderful in North Carolina to help me set up a factory and for them to work there. And they're
Wow.
experts. Like they're so good.
That's really fucking cool. Like that you just, you're not a chemist. You're not,
no, it was one of those that was like, it was one of those moves that was like, I could either find another contract manufacturer and be like at the mercy of them, or take matters into my own.
Right. Yeah.
And I really love the people that work on dip. Like they're really,
that's really cool.
Really great.
And you are based here in Sussex County.
Yeah.
We talked about that. Where can we find your products?
So around here, Salon Fig. So if you've ever been to Salon Fig in Newton, which is a fume-free salon, and they're like really wonderful at what they do. That's where I go myself.
Okay.
And then the other place is Simple Bare Necessities in Sparta.
Okay.
They're on Main Street in Sparta. And Michaela, who owns that shop, if someone's listening and hasn't been in that store, like it's time to go. It's
okay.
So
what kind of and then obviously you can purchase on the website too.
Yeah, so you can purchase on the website, but if you are local to Sussex County, like please support the salon or the Zero Waste store.
Okay. And what kind of products go into dip? Like what's it made out of? Obviously you don't need to tell us everything, but
yeah,
I mean, you've been into hair for a long time. Obviously, you know, some things, you know, there's all sorts of things we talked about, coconut oil and stuff like that. So what's in it?
Well, I'm going to bring over a box just cause I have them here. It's more helpful to say like what's not in it because
Okay.
so here's, I don't know, you can see here's a box.
Yeah.
This is the pink one. But for a lot of them, well, all of the bars, they're sulfate free and paraben free, which is like really important. Just to have a clean formula and to not strip color out of your hair and keep, if most of us at this age are like, I color my hair. I've been gray for quite some time, so I color my hair.
Since my 20s, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Salon Fig, for making it not so obvious that I color my hair. One of the things that I really want people to know about is we do have fragrance in our bars, which is like something that is a touchy subject in the beauty community. But ours are phthalate free. So like,
Why is it a touchy subject?
because a lot of fragrances are filled with like endocrine disruptors that can be
Okay.
really harmful for your health. And so like if you have like Glade plugins or Bath and Body Works scents and all those things, like they're really not good for your endocrine system. It like can really mess you up. But we went above and beyond and we worked with Robertet, which is also in New Jersey. They're a fragrance house and they're at the cutting edge of technology when it comes to scents. And I worked with them to make the cleanest scents possible that still tracks with luxury hair care. Because I found that, if you're switching from an Oribe, which had Tom Ford develop the fragrances, and then you're trying to go to like a normal shampoo and conditioner bar where like it's like eucalyptus or like lavender.
Right.
That's how, like, to me, that's how cleaning products smell. And I don't want to smell like cleaning products.
Okay.
Symphony of scents. So our scents are pretty sophisticated and robust, and it's not something you generally find in the plastic free movement, and it's kind of intentional, but it has come with a lot of education to let people know like, hey, our scents don't have endocrine disruptors in them, and they're we have our manufacturer and like letters saying like that these are the cleanest that they can make, and there's lots of unspoken things about essential oils that people don't know about. A lot of times they're grown with pesticides and then cold pressed with pesticides in them. And that's never going to be on an ingredient label.
Right. Right. Because they're not really labeled organic if they were, right? Like
Right.
who's looking at that? That's
Right.
really interesting. You know your shit.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
pretty impressed actually. Yeah.
Thanks.
And now I know I'll be reading some things on the internet tonight.
Yeah. It's
um
crazy. It's like there's so many things in the beauty. There's so much nuance in the beauty industry. So sometimes like bloggers will take like cherry pick a little thing. I'd say fragrance and like be like, oh, fragrance bad, and it's like not really. That's not how it really works. It's like
it's a huge generalization, obviously.
right,
Yeah.
right.
And like, so actually on a side note for myself, because I actually was on this hair journey in the last year because I was losing a lot of my hair and I have PCOS and, that I think is a big factor in that. And so I was going through my own movement of not washing my hair every day and then getting it down to, and you are wearing the hat by day, 5 or 6 or whatever.
Yeah.
And
the enzyme spray will help you with that. You still just need to style after you apply it. But,
right. Yeah. What about like heat? Like, do you have like, is there any kind of heat protectant on the horizon or anything like that?
Yeah, no, there's heat protectant in the conditioner bar.
So there is.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
that's
a lot
cool.
of people use the conditioner bar to leave in their hair and then they can heat style. If you want like very serious high heat styling, if your tools are like, you really shouldn't be using your tools higher than like 350.
I just learned that and I'm like, I've been frying my hair basically.
Yeah. So then you'd probably want an additional heat protectant, but for normal hair drying and everything, you're pretty much set with dip. You don't need other stuff.
Okay, cool. So is dip the only thing in your shower now?
It is. Yeah.
That's cool. That's great.
Yeah.
So what keeps you motivated to get up every day? Do you ever feel like you're getting up when you're sort of, in the grind at the moment and it feels like a slog? Like what keeps you motivated?
I really love what I do. I really love it. It's the customers keep me motivated. And when I say customers, I mean both like the end customers of people that love the hair care. And then also I work with a lot of small store owners around the country.
Mm-hmm.
And their enthusiasm also keeps me going. And because I work like kind of siloed in my own house at my kitchen table, like my My store owners that sell dip are really like my coworkers. I spend the most
Hmm.
time talking with them and joking around with them. And so my motivation comes from, I like spring out of bed every morning because I really do like,
That's awesome.
yeah. And like usually reviews come overnight. For some reason, people only write reviews at like 2 in the morning. It's weird.
Because I think, let's say, as a mom, so like I know we kind of touched base, but I had started a blog almost a decade ago, and
Mhm.
that's how I got onto this journey, this personal growth journey and everything. And it was always at night. I
Yeah.
was up late at night because my kids were small then, and my
Hmm.
older kids were smaller, and the house is quiet. So that's when you do all of your, your digging, your research, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so you wake up to new reviews in the
Yeah.
morning. So that must feel good. Yeah.
It does feel good. And every once in a while, I'd say like one out of, I don't know, I want to say like one out of 50,000 bars sold has like a lackluster review. And I'm always able to like learn a lot about what that customer was looking for. And, and I can always like figure out like how they're using the bars in a way that like they can still use the bars in a way that is useful for them.
Hmm.
So it's kind of, even the bad reviews still motivate me and keep me like happy because they're,
Well, yeah, that's like, it's kind of like being called out on your bullshit a little bit. Not that it's bullshit, but
no, I
like they're
yeah,
like, their expectation obviously wasn't,
it wasn't
it
bad.
didn't, yeah.
And sometimes it's because I haven't explained how the bar could be used for them specifically, and so we pretty much can handle a whole range of different hair types, but some people just need like a little bit of extra coaching on how to use bars because it's new to them.
So if I've never used one before actually. So what would you say, like, all right, so I'm in the shower, I'm going to use this bar. Like how do I use it?
So for the shampoo, the secret is very wet hair, very wet bar. It's really
Okay.
for both of the bars. But so once your hair is completely drenched, you take a shampoo bar and you run it over your head with speed, not pressure. So
Okay.
that's something that's very special to our bars
It's
because
almost
I
like frothy, right? Like
yeah.
you're,
So
yeah.
when I was developing dip, it was post COVID, and or like during COVID, and I was losing a lot of hair, and I wanted to make sure that the shampoo bar didn't tug on every strand when I was trying to use it.
Right.
So I made the shampoo bar so that it didn't need that pressure. And so really you just need speed. Think like an air hockey puck gliding across the table really fast. And that'll lather it up right away. And then you only really need that on the crown, like at the top of your
And then
head.
you kind of like work it down
Well,
essentially.
it explodes with lather because I
Okay.
preserve that experience of like bottled shampoo and conditioner. I wanted it to feel like that. And then the conditioner is like a different kind of thing. You take the bar, like also wet hair, wet bar, and then you can over apply. You can go crazy. You can apply as much pressure as you want, and you just over apply the conditioner. It will last you. Most people, it'll last a year. Even with your hair, it could last you way longer than a year.
I was literally just going to ask you that. So like with your hair length and thickness, like you think it would last
I
you a
have four
year?
people in my shower, and it lasts a year.
That's incredible.
Yeah, and
That's
so
huge.
I used to spend around $70 a month on Oribe conditioner, and now I have my bar, and it lasts me all year. It's pretty
That's
crazy.
incredible.
Yeah, so I save
And
over 500
obviously,
bucks a year.
yeah. And your mission, the plastic. I mean, because that would have been how many bottles, really,
Yeah, at
right?
least 12. So
Yeah.
yeah, and so I don't, and that's not counting. That's just my personal use. So like my kids, I would never let them touch the Orbe, but like
Right.
I could never guarantee it because they're in there by themselves.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it saves me a lot of money, and that's mostly the reason people get like so excited about dip is because we don't really talk about plastic that much. What we do talk about is how much money it saves and how good your hair looks.
That's incredible. I'm shocked, quite honestly. I was thinking that you were going to say like you need a new bar like every 3 months or something like
Yeah,
that.
the shampoo bar goes a little bit faster because it's softer. So, but
Hmm.
when stored properly, some people go like 5, 6 months with a shampoo bar. Me personally, with my family, we're going through one every maybe 2, 3 months, but there's four of us.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. So, Wow. I'm going to have to go shopping this afternoon.
Yeah, if you go into Simple Bare Necessities and you ask them about dip, they have a whole wall of just dip.
I
It's like,
can imagine.
yeah.
It's kind of horrible. I've never been in there before. I've heard
Oh
of
my
it a few
God.
times. I know. I know. I've
Yeah,
heard of it.
it's
And
great.
I'm gonna visit. Absolutely.
If you go with like a bunch of empty jars or whatever, like the thing I refill the most there are like nuts and snacks for the kids. Um, because you're not a nut free family, are you?
no,
Okay.
we
Yeah.
were at one
So
point, but no.
yeah, so now like we go in there and we replenish snacks like all the time, and it's the best way to kind of just and pasta, like all that stuff, you can just get there refilled.
I had no idea. Literally had
And
no idea. This is on Main Street in
it's
Sparta.
on Main Street. It's like a couple doors down from Cloveberry.
I love Cloberry.
Yeah, me too.
So, on the entrepreneur side,
Mhm.
there's a lot of things that I talk about in the podcast about building business and all of that. But what does your morning routine look like? I'm curious.
So my morning routine is, I think it's pretty universal. Besides the fact that I spring out of bed, I literally spring out of bed. It's
I
like
love that.
because I'm a morning person, so
Okay.
my day starts generally around 4:30 in the morning.
Okay.
And it's not that cool because I go to bed at like 8:30. So.
That's okay. I've kind of morphed into that myself. It's more between 9 and 10, and I wake up at 5. But yeah,
Yeah. And
yeah.
so I wake up, the first thing I do, which is the worst, is I scroll.
Hmm.
I'm scrolling, like
That's
peacefully
okay. Honesty is
scrolling.
good here. I love this.
Yeah. And I kind of catch up on like what's going on in like Dipland. I get to read my reviews and stuff that's
Hmm.
fun. And then I've started in the morning, first thing, doing an apple cider vinegar tea.
Okay.
Disgusting, but like it makes me feel really good.
That's good.
I'm doing it right now. But now it's become like a thing.
So when you take a sip and you make a face, it's
Yeah.
not me, it's the
Yeah,
tea.
no. It's definitely like I've gotten so used to it though, but yeah, it's just it makes me feel good, and then
What's in it? Just is it
it's just
actual tea or just
no, it's just apple cider vinegar and then hot water.
okay? No lemon or anything like that. Just
Nothing.
okay. Yeah, that's ooh. It's got a zing to it, I'm sure.
No, it's yeah, it's got a zing to it for sure. And then I've been reading right now. I'm reading the Akatar series. You know that?
Okay.
The
No.
Court of Thorns and Roses is the first one. They're
Uh,
everywhere.
Okay.
And it's about like fair. It's like when you graduate from Harry Potter and you go into like fairies.
Okay.
It's like
Okay.
adult. So I've been reading that as my guilty pleasure, and then yeah, I don't let myself get into work until 9 a.m. So I have a solid beginning part of the day to like if I want to, I'll stretch.
Yes. Okay. All right.
um,
So
but
your running is not part of your morning routine.
it is,
Oh,
it
it
is,
is.
but in the summer it's a lot harder because the kids are home and I can't
Yeah.
be home alone and trying to get one of them runs, but the little one. So I have a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old. The 9-year-old will run with us. He'll do a 10K with us. The little one is just like he thinks he's born in the wrong family. He's like, I don't want.
Aw, there's always one.
This poor guy, we make him do turkey trots every year. He hates.
I made that tradition actually with my kids, and it's kind of like an every other year tradition, but we will do the turkey trot. And I started with my youngest was in her the jogging stroller or whatever, and
Mhm.
we're all like set to go. And then we haven't done it in a couple years. Maybe it'll be this year. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's yeah, my youngest, he's like not into running or anything. What he really loves is The Simpsons, which is like, come on, love the trees.
That's really funny. Maybe he'll come around. He's just got to find his like thing, right?
He's still little, so I'm forgiving him for his thing being like chocolate in The Simpsons. It's like, come on.
That's funny. So, do you have any future plans like that? I mean, you don't have to share if it's too personal, but
No. For dip or just kind of like
both, all of it, the company, yourself, your family, any.
so this is gonna sound strange. Like I don't have big plans for dip because I don't have this desire to grow like a big company. I just having something that supports my family and does like some good in the world and like and supports small businesses around the country. Like that's a very cool and it's like keeps me really happy. I'm so worried about it getting to a point where it's like big and I just like hate waking up
What?
in the morning
Yeah.
because I'm
Yeah.
in like this really sweet spot. Like I really genuinely love what I do, but that can like change really
The
fast,
bigger
right?
the company, the more stressful it could be. Yeah. And the
Totally.
role that you play in it too.
And and I don't even like try and do viral videos or whatever. Like the few times Dip has gone viral, it's been like the most miserable like 48 hours of my life where you're like constantly answering stuff and it's just like you're pulled away from your life. And so I've like I haven't abandoned TikTok, but I barely post anything there because the content never dies. Do you know what I mean? And some
Hmm.
people in marketing like love that. But I actually don't love that. Like 2 years ago, one of our products went viral on Christmas Day, and I like wanted to tear my hair out. I was like, I can't handle because people expect immediate responses, right? They assume
Yes.
it's like an intern there,
Answering questions.
And I'm like,
Yeah. No,
and
it's me.
yeah, and then if you don't answer fast enough, like it's very common for people to get like really angry if you don't answer fast. So I've kind of abandoned this idea that that's like the path I want to take, and I really enjoy this other path of just like a slow growth.
It's like it's organic, right?
Yeah,
It's you're
yeah,
not putting too much into it. Yeah.
yeah. None of our success has been like a flash in the pan. For the most part, it's been like really slow growth. Like someone's like so surprised that Dip works that they tell like five people. Like I know just from being a woman, and I mean obviously so like when I find something that I like love, I'm
You tell
immediately
everybody.
I'm
Yes.
immediately telling my best friend and my sister right away. Like
Yeah.
those two people get like the front row seats to like what I love, and then like whoever I meet on the street after that, I'm like, you got to try this thing, you got to get this shirt, like whatever.
Yeah.
And so I'm a little bit like that about Salon Fig because I've never ever had that experience where I've gone into a salon and it didn't smell like chemicals.
Right.
There's no
Yeah.
chemicals smelling.
Actually, I have a couple of friends that had gone there before, but I didn't even know that that was like their mission or that's how that worked.
You get your hair like lightened. It doesn't smell like bleach.
So what do they use?
I have no idea. It's magical to me. It's like all sorcery. I have no idea, but it is like I always come out of there feeling like $1,000,000, and like the fact that I don't have to breathe in stuff that makes me like worried
Right.
is the best feeling.
So you said you worked in hair care or hair before.
Yeah.
What did you do?
I've worked on the marketing side for a very long time. I've just
Okay.
across all different kinds of beauty products. So I've worked on different hair care brands, skincare. I mean, that's pretty much it. Hair care and skincare.
Is skincare something that you would dive into in the future, you think? Or
A little bit. I'm launching a hair and body oil, which is like so beautiful. It's like I'm so excited about it. It's coming out in mid-September. I'm going to knock on wood here.
okay.
You never know.
Right. Stuff can happen. Yeah.
Yeah. But it is so beautiful. Like you can put it in your hair and then you can rub it like all over your body. And then the magic part is like, you just go like this and then you can touch paper and it won't leave
And it's not all okay.
nothing. There's no marks. It's like so beautiful.
So is this something that you'd put in your hair daily? You would say?
Yeah, you could put it in before styling. You could put it in after styling just to scent refresh it. You could put it into like revamp curls, like from the temples down, and redefine them. But really, like you put it on your skin. I mean, legs. Like you could put it everywhere.
This excites me because I actually really like oil, and there's actually a couple of Trader Joe's products that I really like, and one of them is a hair mask. Do you have like a hair mask, or would that be something that's kind of similar to that?
Well, you can use the conditioner bar as a hydrating hair mask. So
you could like leave it in too. Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you'd actually, because I used to buy the tub of Kerastase, like, that had like an orange lid, and it was like super expensive. And I would do that maybe once a week, like religiously. I did it for like a decade. It was crazy. I don't need to do that anymore.
That's good. And you've done this, you've had this around for like 3 years, obviously. You said that, and your hair feels better probably than it ever has. That's really cool.
Yeah. And I'm like one of those people that never wants a haircut. So like my ends look pretty good. I haven't had my haircut in a long time, but like I panic every time. They're like, do you want to trim? Because I want to keep it as long as possible.
Right.
And then, I don't want to say no one ever listens to me, but a trim to me is like this much, but a trim to a hairstylist is like this much.
Yes, I
You
have
know?
that argument with my daughter all the time. She's like, I don't want them to cut it. She just turned 18 and she had beautiful long hair and she cut it a couple years ago and it's taken
Mhm.
forever to get it to grow, I have to say. And I
Yeah.
don't know if it's like breakage, but I'm thinking about she's going out off to college in a couple weeks. So weird.
Oh my God.
I know, my baby. And I'm thinking I should send her with a couple bars too. That
Oh my
makes
God.
sense because
Yeah.
she's so into when I was 18, I was not into this stuff. I guess I'm a late bloomer. I don't know. I take better care of myself now than I think I ever did
Yeah.
in my life probably. And maybe it's just because you start facing that clock and you're like, wait,
Totally.
I have hold on a second. This is why there's so many anti-aging products, right? Because we all
Yeah.
get to like 40 and we're like, oh shit, hold on a second and start reversing everything. But she is so into all of that stuff, like, and my youngest too, that's going to be 9. She's like, oh
Oh my gosh.
my skincare. And I wish I had that information, but like I'm sharing it with them too. So
Hmm.
I think that would be good to send her with too. That would make
Yeah.
sense. Yeah.
I think if you went into Simple Bare Necessities, you'd find a whole bunch of stuff, like a whole new world of like these products that have been vetted by the owner there that are like, these are what you should use. And also in Salon Fig, I think they have a pretty robust retail section that like they're pretty strict about what they'll let on their shelves.
Okay. Well,
So
that's
it's nice.
good. That's a good
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Because there's not a lot of people doing, I don't want to say there's not a lot of people, but like a lot of people don't know what they don't know, so they
Right.
trust everything that's on shelves. And I would argue that I prefer a curated shelf.
Yeah.
Someone that's done the
Absolutely.
homework.
Right. Well, and when you think about it and you start replicating in that in other areas of your life too, right? I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, that makes sense. So, if you had to give a piece of advice to a mom that's interested in starting a business, what kind of words of wisdom would you give her?
I would say find something that solves a problem that you could talk about every day for 3 years with the same kind of enthusiasm. Because before
That's
you
good
know it, you're
advice.
3 years in and you're like, how many things can I say about this
Right.
thing? And
Right.
the reality is I love like the stuff we made so much. I could talk about it all the time. But like you do get fatigue of your own stuff,
Yeah. Yeah.
you're like, should I be talking about this again and again and again? But I always find new ways to talk about it, and that source of excitement comes from the customer feedback.
Yeah. I think you said it. It's something that you have to be passionate about. I think as I've always kind of known I was meant for something more. I didn't know what the more was. And then my hobby turned business and it was like, oh. And then now for me in that spot, like how you said, like you don't want to get sick of it. And it's
Mhm.
like, I love what I do so much. I'm like constantly doing it. And
Yeah,
my kids have been away with their dad on vacation with their dad and their stepmom. And so I've been here by myself and I'm like like I'm in the mode like the entire
yeah,
time. And if I didn't love what I was doing, I think I'd probably resent it at that point. Yeah.
totally,
Yeah.
totally. Like, I mean, you could. Uh, do you know Righted by Roots? She's Melissa. She does like succulent planting and stuff. She's in town, and she has a class at the library.
I
And
think that I follow her
yeah,
actually. Yeah.
so I'm not really that close with her, but I do watch what she's building, and I love. I've met her and I really like her. I didn't mean to say it in that way,
No,
but
that's okay.
but I love watching how much she loves plants. Like it
Yeah.
makes me want to buy everything and attend to everything. I love like, and so it's cool to see like, moms. I know she's a mom, and that start businesses and like really like love it with the enthusiasm and just joy that I see someone like her do it with.
Right. Well, and you're doing it too. And that's the thing. Like you're excited about it. You sat
Yeah.
down and it was like, we have never talked face to face before.
Yeah.
And you're just so comfortable in what you're doing and your product, which
Mhm.
is impressive because I think that someone that isn't really passionate about it, they're like, oh yeah, I have somebody to do that. I can't really
Oh
speak to
yeah.
the, I didn't, not that I was expecting that, but I didn't know what to expect because how, not everybody is as involved. And I think that's what makes something successful is, it's your passion and your drive, and no one else in your business has that same
True.
investment as you do, right? If you really love like what you're doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah,
cool.
for sure. It's well, thank you. I mean, I'm with myself every day, so it's, I don't.
I love that. So that yes.
But I do.
Yes.
I mean, it is like when I find someone that is like, oh, I don't really, I haven't tried a bar yet, or I'm almost like a little bit like, oh, I wish you tried a crappy bar so you know like how good.
Yeah. Like here, try this one and then
Yeah.
come back in a month and try this one.
Yeah, but to be honest, people are really like underestimate it when they buy it. They're like, okay, my friend said this is good, I'll try it, and then they try it, and then they're like, oh my god, this is like, this is better than I thought it was going to be. And especially like people are surprised to find out that dip is sold in like black owned curl specific salons. Like that's a very hard group to impress with your bar sustainable products that you're like, hey, it works on my like lame white girl hair, but trust me, it will work on your hair too. And that and they're all Akira, who owns this salon in Williamsburg, Virginia.
Okay.
Like I remember when she told me, she was like, I don't know, and then she tried it and she was like, I want it in my salon. And so like it's really cool to be able to solve that problem, not for someone just like me, but to be inclusive for say like a mixed family,
right?
So, like there's a lot of curly moms, straight haired dads, and then their kids. They have a wide like array of children with different hair types, and so
right.
They only need one set of bars in their shower. And I think that that's nice.
I just thought of one last question. So like I said, I've never used a bar before. When you store it in the shower, should you store it like on like a rack or something so it's not sitting flat on the tile? Or
so try it first on your own, and then you can make like a makeshift stand. So I have this here, but this is like, so you can use like a seashell, right? Like this. And then I just put 2 rubber bands across the top, or
so it doesn't slip,
and it can like the bars can like sit on top of it. That's like, phase 1, but phase 2, when you're like really into it, we sell a shower rack that keeps the bars angled so that water drips off of them and not on top of each other, and it keeps them so nice.
I had no idea. And you have a resolution for that problem. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, you can't, I don't think you can sell people bar hair care and not have a storage solution, because they get gross in the shower if you leave them flat.
Well, I would imagine you'd probably waste a lot of it too, right? Because if it's sitting in water all the time, or moisture at the very least, right?
So so shower rack's the way to go. It like is really we have a utility patent on it, we have a design patent, and then we have an overseas patent, which is like really hard to do, but we have it. So like we've solved this problem. Jonathan and my husband is Jonathan and I, we've solved this problem. We used to bring prototypes to Simple Bare Necessities and like ask Michaela what she thought, and she was like, we were always like measuring angles and like doing all this stuff, and so that's
amazing.
So we have the patent on it, which was a really crazy journey, but we already have like other companies trying to come and like license it, and we're not really there yet because I like having it exclusively for dip.
Yeah. Well, I have to, like, just from a business perspective, doesn't that, I mean, that's helpful, isn't it? I mean, it's
helpful. It's also like, it's hard because the investment you have to make to patent something, it's not just like the first round. Like we've probably spent, I don't even want to say the number out loud. Like we've probably spent around $50,000. Like we have to reinvest in, because the patent, like you have to keep feeding the players, like do things for it. It's tough. But that's like why it's a worthy investment for a small business to do, but
Mm-hmm.
it's like you really have to be prepared to like pony up, because we had another experience where we had a shower rack and a huge brand came and copied it, and like even though we were in the patent process, we couldn't afford to like fight, and so that brand like mass produced our first stab at a shower rack, and we knew we were never going to reproduce that shower rack again because it had issues, and we didn't, we reproduced 1,000 the first time, and we're like, like we, had a 30% return rate, and because it was like too heavy for the wall if you put 4 bars on it.
Okay.
So we saw a huge brand like help themselves to design, copy it, and Jonathan and I were almost like laughing, like we were pissed, but we were also laughing. We're like, they didn't do their homework. What happened was like they copied our homework, and then they also copied the typos. And so
Oh
this
my.
rack, this rack that Dip has now is so much better. It's like it solves all the problems that the first rack had, and we wouldn't have been able to know that unless we interfaced with customers. We like learned what like got them excited and not excited, and even now it's funny because we see like that other rack from that other brand. Like I'm purposely not saying the name,
That's okay.
but we see it. It's everywhere. It's CVS. It's in Ulta. It's everywhere,
Now I'm
and
going to
we
go
know
look.
that rack is like destined for returns.
You know, what's interesting is, so we didn't really like touch on that. So like thus far, but that was kind of like, not that it was a failure, but that was like a fail forward.
It was a
So
fail forward for sure.
yeah. And
For sure.
I got to stop doing this. I don't never use my thumbs up, but so, that's interesting. So in that moment when that stuff was happening, did it feel, there's something that I've been going through in my own personal growth journey along this is kind of getting into a flow state and not getting stressed out about all those little things that happen
Yeah.
all the fucking time that kind of set you back and you're like, this is what I wanted it to be. But we know that we're failing forward. So in that moment when that was happening, what was the feeling? Like,
It was horrible. I was so angry. I was like so angry. I mean, now it's 2 years. I'm 2 years removed from it, so I've
right.
settled. But I was so angry, and I was angry when people supported that brand, and I was angry when that brand owned, like that the CEO of that company, like I tried to write to her, and she like blocked me or whatever, and she's winning like awards for innovation and all this stuff, and it gets under my skin so badly. But I also know not she, but like just the brand in general is a fast fashion of beauty. And like, they can do whatever they want. They can copy brands all they want, but I don't think people are long-term customers of a brand like that. Whereas like with Dip, I feel like the people that understand what Dip is doing, and like they understand that when they purchase from Dip, they're helping small stores around the country and like make like innovating really cool products. Like I think people are happier to spend their money. And I try and make their money worth it, right? Like I try and make the conditioner last as long as possible.
Right.
I could have shrunk it, I could have sold a much smaller bar to get repeat purchases, but that's like not my goal. My goal is to get people to buy better stuff less often.
Mm-hmm.
I think that resonates with people more than any kind of cash grab copycat does, but it takes me a while to get there. Like I want to flip tables. I want to go crazy. And then you kind of like settle it and you're like, oh, that thing, joke's on them, had a 30% return rate. Like,
right. Have your moment and then pivot and keep going.
Yeah. Well,
basically
make something better. Like we were already in the work when that was getting copied and launched, like we were already solving the problems that the first one had. So as angry as I was that it was copied and ripped off and like celebrated and
sorry, take the crappy version.
Literally everywhere, because it was cost reduced. They cost reduced it, cheapened it, and then sold it for the same price that we did. Like it was like a pure, like it wasn't even a dupe in the sense of dupes give you like I actually would have respected it if they cost reduced it and gave it to people less, like charged less, but instead they capitalized on that higher margin and charged people like, I know how much mine costs to make. Mine costs $14 to make each unit.
Mm-hmm.
Theirs cost, I went and found the factory that made theirs. Theirs cost less than $5. And so we had a $48 price point on that particular thing after freight and everything. That's what we had to charge for it, and they charged the same amount, so they captured a huge margin. And I found it kind of despicable. Like, if you're gonna dupe, at least make it cheaper for people, you know.
Right. Right.
But that's kind of like a little bit of the ugliness inside the beauty industry. You'll see it all the time.
Did you know the person, or they just kind of found you guys and?
So our first shower rack, it was like we were one of the first people to have one out, and it wasn't under Dip. It was under a previous brand I had, and
Okay.
it went viral on TikTok, like over 1 million views, probably like 15, 20 times. So, someone was like, "Oh, we'll make a copy of that, and we'll also sell it."
Oh,
Yeah,
tricky.
I mean, honestly, like those are the kind of moments that customers don't realize entrepreneurs have to put up with.
Right.
And so, you know, like it's not that, like I expect the customers to get the best thing for their money.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you hope that that's what you're providing to them.
Right. Well, and ultimately, you are the face, right? So like I'm a really good judge of character, I have to say. Like, you're a genuine person. You're not,
Thanks.
you could have approached the whole podcast very differently had you not been, right? So,
Yeah.
when people believe in you, they'll believe in your product, right?
Yeah.
So,
I hope
yeah.
so. Yeah, I don't know. I'm praying that I see my husband and my sons at the front door, and I'm praying that they tiptoe in.
That's okay. Hey, we're moms. We deal with this stuff. We work from home. This is it. But I'm so glad that you could join me. I had a great time talking to you. It was great
Me
meeting
too.
you. It was great learning more. Maybe we'll do it again, if
Yeah.
you're up for it. And
Thank you for graciously sharing your airspace with me. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, this has been really, really fun. Thank you everyone for listening to this podcast, and I'm so grateful to share it with you. Please do me a favor and hit subscribe wherever you are listening or watching. If you loved it, please share it with a friend. I would really appreciate that, and that would be the best support. Check out the blog at myinnerstruggle.com. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and sign up for the Self-Love Club. I am thinking of you and sending you love, and I will see you soon.